As you can see, everything is a bit of a mess in here. Right now I'm mainly trying to do some organization. 2 years of not having done anything in here kind of left it in this state. I've done a few things recently, but the thing I'm about to do next is trying to figure out what to do with my Jorgensen style clamps. Now, a long time ago, I worked at a stair building factory, and they had a style of taking care of these clamps, and I'm going to attempt to try to make something similar to that. And so, since that's something I haven't quite seen recently, I thought I'd come out of retirement and make a video. Okay, so yesterday I was making these clamp holders, and the problem is when I was making them, I accidentally cut a piece a little bit too short. Now, I don't want to waste it, so I'm just going to repurpose it. So that's what I'm going to be using to make these clamp stand for those. So the first thing I'm doing here is just really trimming up one edge to get it flat, and then decided to cut this board into half, but leaving just a little bit left over because I didn't know if my calculations would be right, and it lets me hit a basket. Since I'm going to be doing half-lap joints here, I'm just kind of setting up the table saw in order to make those cuts. I'm cutting both ends first, and then I'll start chiseling away at all the interior meat. Now, I could easily have just put a dado stack on the table saw and maybe done this a little bit quicker, but because I'm only just doing this for really 2 pieces, I didn't think it warranted taking the time to take the saw apart and put on the dado stack and then take it back off again. That's why I'm doing it this way. Little quick check to make sure it all fits, and good on the second time around. Okay. Now turning to the upright piece, I'm just simply cutting off another piece that's 3 inches wide because that matches the smallest opening of one of the hand screw clamps. The way I decided to build it was I was going to insert a couple of machine screws in order to hold the upright piece to the base. After having done it though, I would probably recommend against doing this. Just simply using some epoxy and a few screws should work just fine. I've already laid out where the center post is going to go, and I put 2 marks where I want the through holes, so this will fit right there. After screwing this together, I'm just using the brad point to mark where the holes are going to go on the upright piece. After drilling them, I'm now kind of knocking them into position. One of the things I did have to do later is kind of scuff up the T-nuts and then add a little bit of epoxy so that they would stay. You could also simply add a couple of small screws to do the same thing. While I'm waiting for the epoxy to dry to hold the base together, that's the reason for the 2 bolts going through the center, I'm just adding the caster wheels to the bottom to be able to move about easily in the shop. Turning to final assembly here, I'm just going to use the machine bolts that I had drilled for, as well as some epoxy to hold it together. I think, as you can see, as I'm kind of fiddling with it, this isn't the best method of doing it. Simply maybe just using the epoxy again, but also then just some screws at the bottom to make it solid on the upright. I think we'll be just fine at this point. If you want afterwards, you can add a little bit of finish to it to give it a little bit of durability. I'm not doing that here. I'm just simply kind of loading it up, and it's ready to go.